Hello everybody and welcome back to My Thoughts, the series where I give my thoughts on the latest Cars news. I just got back from vacation. I was in Disney World for a few days, had a really great time, but of course, right, I'm gone on vacation for not even a week. And while I'm gone, one of the biggest pieces of Cars news of the year drops. This is the Cars Formula One Crossover 3-pack. An item we first found out about all the way back in February thanks to an online listing for it. That listing, which I broke down on the channel back on February 25th, revealed that, we were getting an official Cars Formula One crossover, a 3-pack including an F1 track vehicle McQueen, F1 racer Francesco, and Alex Machino, Francesco's Pity. And now we finally have images of it. Now these images come from a very interesting place. According to a Twitter user named KensethFan, that person was sent these images from a friend who found them on a second-hand Turkish website. We see this with Cars merchandise all the time. It just leaks out in one random part of the world, and we get images of it through that. Unfortunately, we have no information on how or when this pack will be released. All we know is that someone over in Turkey found it early. But considering this is a 3-pack and also seems to have a flat rectangular box that opens with a flap from the top, I think it's safe to assume this is probably going to be an online exclusive. We don't really get 3-packs that aren't online exclusives. We don't really see this sort of flat rectangular style of box unless it's an online exclusive. I think it's a safe bet to say this will end up online, probably Amazon. Again, that's not confirmed, but just going off of how the Cars diecast line typically works, I think that is a pretty safe bet. Now, before we talk about the cars in the pack, and trust me, there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about with them, I want to talk about this 3-pack as a concept, because a Cars Formula One crossover is a great idea, and something that I think is a dream come true for a lot of Cars fans. As I often say on this channel, I don't follow real-world racing. It's just not something that really interests me. But obviously I understand just how huge Formula One is. It's not that big here in the US, but it certainly has become bigger and bigger here over the last few years. Formula One is a worldwide phenomenon at this point, quite frankly, and a Cars collab was inevitable, especially after just how well-liked the NASCAR crossover line has been for the last several years. I think this is a great idea, and I'm very, very happy to see it, but it is kind of strange to me that it seems this 3-pack is the only item we're getting as part of this collab. Yeah, as far as we know, this is it. There have been no leaks, no rumors for a full Cars Formula One crossover line. And that's something that does make a lot of sense to me. If you look at other toy lines that do collabs like this, it tends to go one of two ways. Either you get a full line of a bunch of different items, or they simply collab to make one product, and this seems to be the latter. It feels weird because it's something that we've never seen the Cars diecast line do before. They've never really done a one-off item like this. And the fact that it's an online exclusive 3-pack also makes it feel kind of strange. But again, when you look into the greater world of toy collabs, this stuff all makes perfect sense. It's just something that we've never seen with Cars before. If this truly is the only Cars Formula One item we're getting, I really hope that they consider making more in the future, whether that is multi-packs or a full line of cars, because, again, it's really an excellent idea, and the 3 cars we have here are really cool and really solid. Yeah, I absolutely love this 3-pack, and now that I've talked about all the logistics with how I think it'll be released and the crossover itself, let's spend some time just looking at these super cool cars. Because it's a 3-pack with 3 brand new cars, and 2 of them are Francesco and his Pity. Let's start off with the item in this pack I was easily the least interested in when it was first announced. That being Lightning McQueen. McQueen does not make sense in a Formula One themed series. He is not a Formula One racer. He's not designed or shaped like one. He is a Piston Cup car based on American NASCAR. It wouldn't make sense for him to be competing in a Formula One competition. And when I first heard he was going to be in this pack, I was just like, yeah, of course he is, right? He's the main character. You gotta cram him in somehow. And I was waiting to see what they would do. I was expecting them to just reuse McQueen's Cars 2 design and give him some Formula 1 logos, but no, that's not what they did. Instead, they did something I was completely not expecting. They fully acknowledged the fact that McQueen is not a Formula 1 racer, and they didn't make him a racer. The Formula 1 McQueen diecast is the pace car. I didn't realize this, but this is actually something we've pretty much known since February, as that original leak listed him as F1 track vehicle McQueen. Again, I don't follow real-world racing, so I didn't really realize what that meant. But I think it's an insanely cool and clever workaround. McQueen being a racer wouldn't make sense here, but they still wanted to make a new McQueen since, again, he's the main character, and of course you would want him involved in the series, so they decided to have him be the pace car. And I did some research into Formula 1 pace cars, and yeah, it honestly works. Formula 1's pace cars are much closer in design to more traditional non-Formula 1 race cars. And while model-wise, it's obviously not a perfect match to McQueen, especially because, again, McQueen's design is based on an American race car, and these are obviously European in design, I think it was a really, really cool, clever, and smart way to incorporate the character into this pack. Design-wise, McQueen looks pretty nice. The paint job is unique enough, I think. Contains the 95 and Lightning Bolt in an interesting new way. He's got the Formula 1 logos, and I really like the red, yellow, and black paint job. He's not a new sculpt. He's actually, I believe, reusing the Race and Rescue McQueen mold, which makes perfect sense, as he needs to have a light bar up top, and I think the Race and Rescue light bar works much better than the Deputy Hazard one. I'm sure there are going to be some people out there who aren't a big fan of this. I'm sure some people probably would have preferred if McQueen were just made a racer instead. Like I said before, I think it's a really cool and clever workaround. And I also love the fact that we have a Formula 1 3-pack that gives us 3 different types of cars. A racer, a pace car, and a pity. 3 different vehicles that all help the race work. Though, honestly, if I had it my way, I would have cut McQueen from the pack and replaced him with a second racer. Although I understand, cutting McQueen from your Cars product is just an idea that doesn't really make sense. I'm sure there are also going to be some people questioning the canon of this, saying that it doesn't make sense for McQueen to be the pace car, but you have to remember, this is a crossover toy, first and foremost. We're used to Cars Expanded Universe items being canon to the series, having backstories, being something that really took place within the Cars universe. This clearly isn't that. This is just 2 brands collabing to make a fun toy. We don't have to be concerned about its effects on the greater Cars universe. There is no Formula 1 in Cars. This is just a collab, so as long as we have good, well thought out, well designed items, I'm going to be happy with them. And this McQueen went from easily the least interesting item in the pack when it was first leaked to one that I'm genuinely excited to get. The design and concept have really grown on me. I mean, a pace car McQueen is just a really cool concept. Now let's move on to the one and only Francesco Bernoulli. It is wild and really trippy to see an official Francesco diecast with Formula 1 logos on him. Francesco is designed to be a Formula 1 style racer in the Cars universe. He even races for a league called Formula Racing, which is the Cars universe's parody / equivalent of Formula 1. So to have an official collab between the Cars Formula 1 character and actual Formula 1 is crazy. Now at first glance, I was actually pretty disappointed by this item. It just looked way too similar to his regular design, and also too similar to his GRC diecast from 2024. But the more I look at it, the more I really like it. Francesco is a character with a very simplistic design and not really much space to work with or change. Most Francesco variants end up looking pretty similar to his original. And while this one, once again, does look quite a bit like other versions of him we've already gotten, it is quite different in a lot of different ways. There's much more red on him, we have different pieces done in black, placed in very interesting ways, and I really like the placement of the green. I keep saying the placement of the colors, and I think that's really the best way to put it. I really love how they used the colors here, the placement of them, where and how and what is what color just really works for this item, in my opinion. It's the most red we've ever had on Francesco, and I just think it does a really great job matching how Formula 1 cars look in traditional races. Francesco's design in Cars 2 was made to look like the Italian flag, since he was racing in the World Grand Prix and representing his country, and since then, all the Francesco designs have sort of played around with that. He still is reminiscent of the flag here, but I think this is the least flag-like Francesco has ever looked, which I think is a perfect fit for this Formula 1 collab. Francesco isn't in this worldwide race where he needs to look like the flag of his country. He's in a European circuit here alongside presumably several other racers who are also from Italy, and so I really like how they used Francesco's color scheme, took it to new and different places, and just made it work quite well here. I'm always a fan of when World Grand Prix cars kind of break the mold of their traditional designs. And finally, we have the item that I was easily the most interested to see when this pack was first announced. Alex Machino, Francesco's Pity, gets a brand new variant as part of this F1 collab. How insanely cool is that? A new version of Francesco's Pity was not something I expected to see in 2026, or honestly, ever. And man, I absolutely love that they decided to make this item. If you know me, you know that I love when more obscure Cars characters get new variants in the diecast line. A Formula 1 Alex Machino is right up my alley, and I genuinely think it's a really great pick for this 3-pack. I know I said that I would cut McQueen and replace him with another racer, but I think if I were in charge of this pack, Alex Machino would certainly stay. Actually, I don't even think I would consider including Alex Machino. It's just such a good, crazy pull, and I love that it's not just, oh, here's a new Guido. No, this is Francesco Racing, so we include a new version of Francesco's Pity. I really appreciate just how much thought went into the character choices of this 3-pack. McQueen should be here, but it doesn't make sense for him to be a racer, so he's a pace car. We want a Pity. Francesco's in the pack. We do a new version of Francesco's Pity. It's great. It's really nice. Design-wise, there's not all that much to say. I think he matches Francesco pretty well. I just cannot wait to get my hands on a new version of Alex Machino. And there you have it, guys. The Cars Formula 1 crossover 3-pack. This is an item that I am so happy exists. And while I would certainly have preferred a full Formula 1 crossover line and would really like to have seen a racer in this pack in addition to just Francesco, I think what they did here is really cool, and the character and design and concept choices here were all very well thought out in my opinion. Hopefully this sells well and maybe they'll consider making a second pack, but for now I know this is one that I'm really excited to get, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will be as well. Anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching. These are just my thoughts, and I would love to hear yours, so let me know what you think about this 3-pack down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Bye now.